My name is Scott Miller. I work as a teacher with Manhattan Prep. I've been teaching and tutoring online for about 7 years and teaching in Zoom for about 2 years. I also created a training program that helped our instructors learn how to use Zoom when we switched to Zoom about 2 years ago. All this has given me a chance to learn a lot about Zoom and how it works. This video is about keeping your Zoom meetings secure from disruptions and uninvited guests. There has been a lot of talk about privacy and security in Zoom recently. You may have heard about some problems that occurred. We're going to explain the kinds of problems that have happened and the tools that Zoom gives you to deal with these problems, and how you can use those tools to make your meetings more secure. Anyone who creates a Zoom account or is given one through their organization will have an online meeting room. You can send people a link to your meeting room. This looks just like a link to a regular web page. I have mine covered up here on purpose. But if I wanted to, I could send this link to a group of people and they could use it to sign into my online meeting room. I could then meet those people there for a video call. You can also schedule meetings that have their own unique links. So for example, if you're teaching several different classes for different groups of students, you might schedule a meeting for each group and send each of your students a link for their specific class. The problem is that anyone with the link can potentially join the meeting. And this is the reason for many of the recent problems you might have heard about. There have been cases where people who are not supposed to be in a meeting or class got their hands on the link for the meeting and then joined the meeting and created a disturbance. If you've heard about people hacking into Zoom meetings, this is what happened. These are just people who got a hold of a link to a Zoom meeting. We'll show you how to prevent that in a minute, but first let's talk about some of the tools that you can use if someone does try to create a disturbance in one of your meetings or classes. When you're designated in Zoom as the host or co-host for a meeting, you'll have a security button in your Zoom toolbar. This gives you quick access to tools that can help you deal with disruptions. If you need to completely remove a participant who's being disruptive, you can do this through the security button. You can also remove a participant by hovering your mouse over their camera feed. Look for the blue button with 3 dots in the upper right corner. Click that. Then click Remove. Once you remove a participant, they normally won't be able to rejoin a meeting, but there are ways to get around that. If you know that everyone who's supposed to be in a meeting is there, you can use the security button to lock the meeting. This is like locking the door on the meeting room. You can also enable a waiting room. With the waiting room enabled, participants won't be able to join the meeting until you let them in. Click the Participants button to open the Participants window and see the people who are waiting to join the meeting. You'll be able to let individual participants in, one at a time, or you can admit everyone who's waiting. This can be a bit of a hassle if you have a large number of participants, but it is a way to control who is and isn't allowed to join the meeting. The chat window is a useful feature in Zoom. Our students use this all the time to ask questions and to answer questions that we ask them. It's especially useful when teaching larger groups. However, if you need to quickly prevent people from sending chat messages, click the security button and uncheck chat. If you allow participants to chat, you can control who is able to chat to whom. Click on the chat button to open the chat window. Look for the button with 3 dots in the lower right corner and click that button. You can prevent participants from sending private messages to each other if needed. You can also set the chat window so that participants are only able to chat to you directly as the host. Screen sharing is a great tool for meetings and classes. It lets you display things like PowerPoint presentations for other people in the meeting to see. Unfortunately, people have used this to share inappropriate content during meetings. To prevent this, click on the security button and then uncheck the Share Screen item to prevent participants from sharing their screens. If you need participants to share their screens and you're confident that no one in the meeting will cause a disruption, you can check Share Screen to allow it. As we noted before, many of the problems that occurred recently are the result of someone getting a link to a Zoom meeting and then joining the meeting and causing a disruption. To help prevent this, don't share the direct link to your Zoom meeting room. Remember, Anyone who has this link can potentially join a meeting or class that you hold in Zoom. You might not have to worry about this if you work for a company or a school that is scheduling your meetings or classes for you. In that case, you might only need to follow any instructions that they provide and sign in for your meeting or your class at the appropriate time. What we're about to show you will be of interest if you need to schedule a class or a meeting in Zoom and invite people to attend. Go to the Meetings page, look under Upcoming Meetings, and click on the button labeled Schedule a New Meeting. Give the meeting a name, select the correct date and time for the meeting, and then select the option to generate a meeting ID automatically instead of using your personal meeting ID. For extra security, require registration and require a meeting password. Scroll down to the bottom of the page, and under Meeting Options, make sure that the option to enable Join Before Host is not checked. Once you've chosen all the appropriate settings, click Save to save the meeting. When you view the information for the meeting, under Invite Attendees, you'll see a registration URL. You can share this link with people so that they can register for the meeting. For added security, scroll down to the bottom of the page and look for the registration options. Click Edit to edit those options. For the most security, choose the option that requires you to manually approve registrants. You can choose to be notified by email whenever someone registers. And remember to click Save All to save any changes that you make. There's more information about scheduling meetings, requiring passwords, and requiring registration on Zoom's website. If you're scheduling your own meetings, it's a good idea to look through this information, learn about the different options that are available, and choose the ones that are best for you. It's also worth noting that Zoom has a webinar option available. Webinars were specifically designed for public-facing meetings. They're an add-on that you have to pay for. They're not included with a free Zoom account. But they provide the most security in terms of limiting what attendees are able to do. Attendees in webinars cannot get on camera, and they aren't able to screen share. They also aren't able to use their microphones unless you, as the host, give them permission to. Finally, there are a couple of additional settings that you should be aware of. If your school or company manages your Zoom account, they might have these settings properly set for you. But if you have your own personal Zoom account, you might want to change these. To locate these settings, open a web browser, go to zoom.us, and sign into your Zoom account. Go to the Settings page, go to the Meetings tab, and then scroll down to In Meeting Basic. Locate the File Transfer option and turn it off. If this is on, participants can transfer files through the Zoom chat window. Other participants will need to click on the link to open the file, which they should never do unless they know what the file is for. But it's still a good idea to turn this off unless you have a good reason to keep it on. There's also a setting that allows participants to annotate when you're screen sharing. Anyone in the meeting can see these annotations. And these annotations are a useful tool in Zoom. But depending on things like the ages of the participants in your classes and any potential for people to be disruptive, you might want to turn this off. Also, look for the remote control option. Turn this off unless you specifically need to have it on. We're recording this video in April of 2020. Some of the features that we showed you have been available for a while, and others have just come out in the past week or two. It's likely that Zoom will continue offering new tools and resources to improve the security of Zoom meetings. We've shared some links to Zoom security resources in the description for this video, so be sure to take a look at those. And be sure to check the Zoom website regularly for information about Zoom security. Thanks for watching. We hope this has been helpful.